like to welcome you all to the 2022 International Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's been 2 years since we've returned to Columbus, but we're happy to not only be here, but to see so many familiar faces. It was a challenge for over a year and a half that we put this event together, but we're back. We're happy to be back. And you may have noticed that this class is all combat sports related, and that was due to the gentleman standing to my right in honor of him and his martial arts career and everything that he's done for not only Columbus, but for martial arts around the world. So taking a line, I'm going to repeat something that I did in Orlando. So the people who were there in Orlando when we inducted our 2021 class. So I'm going to steal a line from Michael Buffer. Ladies and gentlemen, why are you smiling? Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the man to my right. He is a Grandmaster of Martial Arts, a former Guinness Book World Record holder. He is the founder and president of the International Sports Hall of Fame and one of my best friends on the planet and in the universe. Give it up for Dr. Robert Goldman!
You know, we're all so happy to be here for so many reasons, and to have this amazing group, many of whom are heroes, and all of us in the, there's so many martial artists in the group. This is the first time we've ever done a all martial arts, MMA, fighter, combat sports group. And for me, personally, this is extremely exciting because usually we mix these things up. So these people are not only being honored tonight, you guys are not only being honored tonight for your remarkable careers and your athletic achievements and your contributions to sport, but also how you've given back to others, how you've mentored others, how you have changed the future of sport through your mentoring of the next generation. So part of the criteria is not only being a great athlete, being a world champion, but also the charitable works that you do post-career. And so that to us is key and so, so important. This encompasses all sports. You know, you see NFL Hall of Fame or Basketball Hall of Fame or Football Hall of Fame, WWE, UFC, and so on. But we're sort of look at ourselves as the Hall of Fame of all Hall of Fames because we encompass not only all sport, but we also encompass the human spirit and the human spirit of giving and the human spirit of contribution to the world. And what we all have to understand is that we all fail. I'm sure all of you understand. We've won and we failed. Grandmaster Van Cleef, he's competing till he's going to be 80 years old. And he started back, even being a 10th dan black belt, he started back as a white belt again when he started jiu-jitsu fighting, and he's still competing. Yeah. I mean, this is... part of the journey to greatness is accepting that you will fail. And at the moment of failure, you are tested. You either quit, give up, stay down, or you get up and you rise. And that's what these people have done over and over again during the course of their careers. Never allow your mind to negotiate with your will to succeed. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding on the 20th. Persistence overcomes resistance. Perfection is not attained, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of what you do about it. So you want to be the change in the world. You want to be part of that, just like all these remarkable individuals have done. You want to be a lifelong teacher, mentor, and leader, and share your knowledge. And that's the great part about martial arts, which makes it so different. And we have all these amazing martial artists that have come in, and I'm going to introduce some of you who are here who are also past inductees. It's a sharing of the knowledge. It's the teaching of what your art is all about. And that's what really separates fighters and martial artists from so many other sport, because you share. You don't covet, you share. So the lives you touch really become your legacy. And what you're looking at is an array of people on this stage, their lives and what they have done and what they are doing and what they continue to do post-career is their true legacy. Now, when I started the International Sports Hall of Fame over a decade ago, I said, how can we get the right kind of design? So I had an international competition to design the logo, which you see all around here. We had over 300 submissions from 50 countries around the world, and we came up with this little beauty, which each of you guys are going to take home. And this thing is 2.5 pounds, coated in gold, hand done, and we also got, I upgraded the cases, so we have pretty cases. In addition, I don't want to feel like it's, we also had custom-made jackets made up for you guys with the Hall of Fame logo on it. So, and since you're all martial artists, we gave you 8th Dan black belt. I know some of you are higher, but you're just going to have to deal with an 8th Dan. In addition, when you're not carrying your medal or you take, and by the way, when we put it on, you have to wear it for the whole ceremony for the pictures. We also have for your desk this gold medallion, which you can put on your desk. So every day you are reminded that you are an International Sports Hall of Fame inductees. And on top of that, you know, we don't want you to go home empty-handed. So what we have is, you also have your own handmade Hall of Fame inductee patches with gold thread, cufflinks, pin, and lapel pin, gold lapel pin. So you'll be fully outfitted. So, yeah, you're going to have a little trouble at DSA, but it's okay. They'll let you go. They're going to go. When I was coming down, I always get very nervous whenever we have the award ceremony. So what I do is, aside from making sure that things are shipped, I hand carry all the medal, another set of medals down with me. And I don't want to tell you what happened at TSA. But I was ready to get full body cavity search with, you know. But I made it through. But I always keep, we don't want to take any chance of you guys not going home with your medals. So fortunately, we had them here, but I brought extras just in case. Our first inductee of the evening, who is a personal hero of mine, who as a kid growing up, watching this gentleman, Grandmaster Von Van Cleef, the Black Dragon. I call him my brother because we're brothers from another mother, but we look very much alike. So, this is someone who started martial arts as an early teen. He was a Marine. This guy has had one of the most stellar, remarkable careers you can imagine. Amazing challenges that he has overcome. He became a 5-time karate world champion, kung fu champion, and a 15-time All-American champion. He competed in both full contact and non-contact karate tournaments in New York, and coming from New York myself, it was a legend. When I first ran into him after being out of the sport for many years, and then I saw him at a big mega martial arts event, it was like seeing a dream, you know, because this is somebody I knew when we were fighting in the back alleys in Chinatown. This is the guy that it was all about going way back then. He competed all over the world. He's still competing. He's still training. His martial arts training began in the mid-50s. Later, he trained along Bruce Lee in Hong Kong, and he was nicknamed then the Black Dragon. This guy actually trained with Bruce Lee, did scenes with Bruce Lee, and did movies in Hong Kong. He was a student of Goju masters Peter Urban, Frank Ruiz, Moses Powell. Who doesn't know Moses Powell? We're growing up in New York, as well as Wing Chun. So many different styles, and now he went back again several years ago to train in jiu-jitsu, and even though being a 10th Dan black belt in his art, he started at a white belt again, and now you're up to brown again, is it? Purple. Can you imagine him as a purple belt? Crazy. On December 16, 1994, he competed in the 4th Ultimate Fighting Championship at 51 against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion Royce Gracie, who was also one of our inductees a number of years ago. He is still actively competing, and he is going to compete until he is 80 years old. He's in his late 70s now. Let's give it up for my personal hero, Grandmaster Ron Van Cleef. on you. I know you can handle this.
After that, what can I say? I'm truly humbled and honored to be here. I started my martial arts training when I was 15 years old in Brooklyn, New York, with Moses Powell and Ronald Duncan, and I continued my martial arts education in the Marine Corps. I was stationed in Okinawa before I went to Vietnam. When I left Vietnam, I became a New York policeman for 5 years, and during that period I started getting interested in acting and stunt work. I worked with the New York Stuntmen's Association. I was the first martial artist in that organization. I worked on over 300 films in the past 55 years. I've competed in over 900 tournaments. I've tried to be active. I started training in jiu-jitsu when I was 68. I'm 79 now. And I made purple belts after 9 years. And I'm still competing. I'm competing a week after I get back from here. You know, I trained Steve Reeves. You know who Steve Reeves is? He played Hercules. I had the honor of training him when he had his shoulder replacement at the Radu Physical Culture Center in New York City. And he was so helpful in as far as motivating. He was 86 years old at the time. He was bench pressing 250 for reps. You know, at 85, 86 years old, it's kind of amazing. You know, I have to thank my wife. She motivates me every day to keep working out. She drags me to the gym. She shames me, you know. But in this life, you have to have a purpose and a passion, and the martial arts has been my passion for over 60 years. I've had the opportunity to meet and work with so many of the greats in the arts. You know, I met Gojin Yamaguchi. I actually trained with Bruce Lee. He gave me the nickname, the Black Dragon, after I lost a match at the All-American Championships in 1967. Imagine, 1967, we're sitting, and he says, you know, you're the Black Dragon. I said, I just lost. He says, no, you're the Black Dragon. You know, about 8 years later, I did a film, and the title was The Black Dragon. So life is strange. You have to stay busy. You have to stay active. You know, physical fitness is important. I've taught thousands of students. I taught in the public school systems in New York and St. Thomas and in California. I had the opportunity to be the senior combatives trainer for the Secret Service from 1983 to 1993. I trained 10,000 agents, and it was a wonderful experience. And I have to thank all my teachers, from Moses Powell to Dr. Goldman. They've been amazing mentors. You have to inspire before you expire, you know? You know, Bob has said many times, you have to exceed your limits. Well, that's what life is. Life is a challenge, and if you don't exceed your limits, you're not going to make it to the end. And I'm so happy to be here, and I'm having a panic attack, guys. But it's a wonderful thing, and thank you so very, very much for this honor. And thank you, Dr. Bob.
You know, this room is really filled with stars. I'm sorry the lights are so bright. I just wanted, Grandmaster Stephen Hayes is here, the original ninja. Kevin, high-level black belt. Randy Couture, who's on our advisory board, UFC world champion. Next to him, Ed Cohen. Also, Randy was inducted in the International Sports Hall of Fame in 2012. Ed Cohen, 70 world powerlifting records, probably the greatest. Stand up, guys, for a second. Greatest powerlifting in history. Grandmaster Ernie Reyes is here. He was inducted just last year. We have Eric the trainer over there. We've got Chef for the White House there with the skinny little arms. I hope it's hard for me to say I hope I'm not missing anybody, but there are so many great champions and great people in this audience. And you notice this is a smaller crowd. This is really an elite exclusive event. This is not for the open. This is not an expo situation. This is a very special life experience. And what you have to understand is you will never, and probably will never, see all of us in one room together again, ever. This is not going to happen again. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to have all of these amazing people in one room, because we're not around forever. Things change. So what you are experiencing today, I want you to have a full understanding. You are experiencing a once-in-a-lifetime event with all of us in this room together. And I thank you for being part of this lifetime event for myself. Our next inductee, if you want to talk about tough and strong and overcoming things and perseverance, Vinny Paz, world champion, is really the epitome of that. In the 1980s, Vinny Paz, he built a reputation along the East Coast, defeating numerous champions. His first world title fight came in 1987, became the IBF World Lightweight Champion. In 1991, he moved into the junior middleweight division. In his first fight at the junior middleweight, he won the USBA championships. He defeated the WBA World Junior Middleweight Champion, becoming the second fighter in boxing history to win both the lightweight and the junior middleweight World Championship titles. Paz was forced to relinquish the title due to a serious car accident in which his neck was broken. Now you can imagine being a boxer, the way you're struck and the forces, and you get your neck broken in a car accident, and you come back, and this guy came back. Amazing. Doctors informed him that he might never walk again and would certainly never fight again. He had to wear a medical device. It's called a halo, this big metal thing where they drill holes into your head, a circular metal brace they screwed into your skull in 4 spots with metal rods. He had this happen to him, but he came back. And 13 months later, after this accident of breaking his neck, WBC world champion, he became again by a 10-round decision. Yes. After the Santana fight, he went on to defeat another fighter, and yet another one, winning a world championship after a world championship, and then went on to win the IBO middleweight world title in 1993 with an 11-round knockout. He went on to then beat Roberto Duran. You remember Roberto Duran, what a badass he was. He beat him twice. Vinny beat him twice, both via unanimous decision, with the IBC super middleweight title on the line both times. In 1996, he went on to win again and became the WBU super middleweight world champion. This guy is going on to fight over and over. His record stands at 50-10 with 30 wins by knockout and 5 world titles: the IBF lightweight world championship, WBA junior middleweight championship, IBO super middleweight championship, IBC super middleweight championship, and the WBU super middleweight championship. And he also won the USBA title. Talk about perseverance, talk about coming back. Vinny's the man. Come on up, Vinny. Now, I know your neck can handle it now, because if you can come back and beat all those guys, I know you'll be able to handle it just fine.
Definitely.
There you go. Okay,
Wow.
okay, Ron, it's all yours.
Wow. Wow. This is pretty cool. Thank you. These great people that are up here, man, it's crazy. And Shamrock, I partied with his brother. He's not as cool as his brother. His brother's a badass. But that's good. They're close. They're close. When they told me that they were inducting you, and then I looked at the stuff, and then I saw Burt Watson's name on. I went, oh, I'm in. I'm all in. I go back with that guy to the Olympic Training Center when I was an amateur fighter. And like to see him now, it's pretty crazy. And nuts, you break your neck. I was on top of the world. I won my second world title. Nothing was better. Nothing mattered in my life. You know, when you're a fighter, you just want to win, and you want to win titles. I won the title. Days later, I got in a car accident and break my frickin' neck. Ugly, ugly, ugly. So I just didn't want to. I didn't want to go out like that. I wanted to go out swinging. I was 29 years old, and it made for a great story. Did you guys any of you see Bleed for this? It made for a good story. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And this is going to be recognized. Somebody just came up with the greatest comeback in the history of sports, and it happens to be the guy you're looking at. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's either going to be on HBO, ESPN, something crazy like that, but I'm not good with the business aspects of fighting, but I can fight my ass off. Yeah. And you want to know why? Like, every time I say that and I think about that, I think about this guy that, like he almost brings tears to my eyes just because I loved him so much, and he was such an influence on me. Like, I tried to live like him. I tried to be pretty like him. I tried to be good like him. I never stayed down. No one ever knocked me out. I never stayed on the canvas. My hero was, and he was the greatest, man. He was the greatest. My hero was Muhammad Ali. And that guy altered. He changed my life, and that's why I got this. If it wasn't for him, I don't know. I would have probably been a radio DJ. Fuck knows. I don't know. But so cool. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, and stay on the lookout. It's going to be out in about a year. The greatest comeback in the history of sports. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Like, I saw some of the things they're doing. You know, I got Donald Trump on it speaking about me. I got Dana White, Floyd Mayweather, and just it goes on and on. It's going to be a cool piece. So, thank you, appreciate it. And even though it's a small crowd, it's a good-looking fucking crowd. It's small. I'd rather it be like this.
Yeah, okay.
Folks, what you don't realize is, believe it or not, what makes this moment so special for me and for Vinny is that repeatedly he's been turned down for induction into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But in life, sometimes you can't be denied.
That's very
You
nice.
cannot
Thank
be
you.
denied. And today is your moment, brother.
Wow, that's
Today is
really
your
nice.
moment.
Thank you.
So give it up. Big pass.
Our next inductee is His Royal Highness Prince Gharios, somebody who I know very closely for a number of years. His Royal Highness Prince Gharios is a sovereign prince of the dynasty of Ghassan. He's a writer, a scholar, humanitarian, artist, and also a Grand Master of the martial arts. He's internationally recognized as the heir to the Ghassan dynasty, a descendant of the heir to the Christian Arab kings, Byzantine empires, and so many other dynasties. It's the oldest knights of chivalry in creation. The family history has been validated for centuries by the Maronite Church under the Holy See, the Vatican, and the authority of the Pope. For 30 years, the prince has been a martial arts practitioner, holding the 5th degree black belt in Aikido, and was just recently promoted to 8th Dan by the Japanese Budo Association, and also holds black belts in karate, kabuto, ancient Japanese weapons, and he has also practiced judo, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, fencing, and silat. In 2014, he received the United States Special Congressional Recognition Honors and was invested as a Knight of the Pope, the Vatican, in the Equestrian Order of the Holy Scepter of Jerusalem. So many awards from so many world humanitarian organizations, too many to even count. In 2019, he was promoted to Knight Commander in the Papal Chivalric Order of the Holy Scepter of Jerusalem. And in 2020, he was inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Honors. In 2021, received the Action on Film Icon Award. The Prince is fluent in 4 languages, English, Portuguese, Spanish, and Italian, and also speaks basic Japanese, French, and Arabic. But really, the most important thing about the Prince is his humanitarian efforts. This is somebody who has dedicated his life to humanitarian pursuits and is very modest for somebody. When you would meet him, or when I met him for the first time, he walks in such a regal way. Something's different about this guy. But his manner and the way that he treats people in the modest and kind fashion, he treats everyone like a prince, like himself. And so that is what really always impressed me about him. And then we got to play a little martial arts. He almost broke me in half. So yes, he's a real deal. The Prince. Oh, there you go. Turn around there. Okay.
My brother, Mr. President of the International Sports Hall of Fame, Dr. Sir Robert Goldman, Mr. Vice President Sir Fairfax Huckley, fellow inductees, ladies and gentlemen. By looking at me up here, you might ask yourselves, why is he here amongst all these champions? Who is this guy? I will explain. The International Sports Hall of Fame is celebrating its 10th anniversary, and since we are living in the era of the politically correct, I got here through a sort of affirmative action for nerds. Yes, someone told the commission, I heard, that once every 10 years, you should have at least one nerd or someone out of shape. So gladly, I checked both boxes. Now seriously, it's very interesting that this former little boy, still little chubby, is graduating at the World Sports Elite today. When I first started the martial arts at 4 years old, everything was 10 times more difficult for me than for the other kids. You have no idea what it is to grow up in Brazil and be terrible at playing soccer. You become a social pariah. But there's a very important lesson to be learned, and I believe that's the great magic of sports, which is to transform and to discipline together and to draw something positive from any dispute. And the message is, if I did it, anyone can do it. I was bullied as a kid. I was unpopular due to my lack of sports skills. I was laughed at because of my inability. And today, I want to thank every single person that laughed at me, because thanks to them, I'm here today. I'd like to say that I was very honored to receive a mission to lead an 18th centuries-old dynasty and look for a people currently in extreme danger, the Christians in the Middle East. That has been my blood right duty since 2008. I always say that I really believe that a title is completely useless in the 21st century, unless you can make it relevant by serving your people, because that's what real royalty is all about, not glamour, but service. And maybe that service is the main reason I'm here today. During this time, we've been helping hundreds of families in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Palestine, Iraq, and Egypt, both Christians and Muslims. Today, we have an ongoing campaign in Lebanon right now, donating 60 tons of special milk for babies with nutritional problems, worth over $500,000. I'm so proud of my team in Lebanon, led by my cousin, His Royal Highness Prince Sheikh Salim El Shmour, and by Mr. Antoine Kalajian, the CEO of the One Voice Foundation, which is an arm of the Royal House of Ghassan. I cannot forget to thank the martial arts that are not only a sport to me, but a way of life. I thank all of my masters that made me who I am today. Many people don't understand the original concept of the martial arts, which is self-improvement. The fighting is a byproduct. To forge a good person is the ultimate goal, and you can see by all these people here. Dr. Goldman, my brother, Fairfax, thank you for this great recognition. Thank you, my fiancée, Kristen, and my friends that came here to support me. I would also like to thank my fellow inductees, past and present. I'm very honored to have some of the past inductees here. It's a great privilege to be part of this list with you. Finally, even not being worthy of this award, I'm taking it before I change your mind. Thank you so much.
We got so excited, we forgot to take a picture. Thank you, brother. Frank? Yeah. When you think of grandmaster versatility, badass fighter, someone who, when you look at some of the guys that Grandmaster Frank Shamrock had to fight, I mean, I got scared for him. And yet, unbelievably, this guy would take on anybody. I mean, really, just remarkable. He's a mixed martial artist and was first to hold the UFC middleweight championship, later named the UFC light heavyweight championship. He retired a 4-time defending undefeated champion. Shamrock was #1 rated pound for pound as a UFC fighter in the world during his reign as UFC middleweight champion. He won numerous titles in other martial arts organizations, including the interim King of Pancrase title, WEC Light Heavyweight Championship, and the Strike Force Middleweight Championship. He's also recognized as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, as well as one of the most first complete mixed martial artists, adapting his game from a ground style of fighting to a more complete, well-rounded, and versatile style that included improving striking to go along with skilled ground game. What's really remarkable to watch you, Frank, when you would, I mean, I was getting scared when I saw some of the guys you were fighting, but I mean, he took on guys that one kick and they'll explode your liver. And you just, I don't know how you did it, but you did. He was named Fighter of the Decade for the 1990s by Wrestling Observer, Best Full Contact Fighter by Black Belt Magazine in 1998, a 3-time Fighter of the Year by Full Contact Fighter Magazine. He is a 7th degree black belt in submission fighting, and he happens to be the adopted brother of Vinny's, your party pal, Ken Shamrock. Let's give it up for Grandmaster Frank Shamrock. Right over here, brother. Okay, brother. There you go, bro.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a bling. Hi, everybody. All right, let me clarify. Vinny and I have gone out quite a few times. And he's actually one of the reasons I stopped drinking, because he did explode my liver. And so, anyways, I stopped drinking. I fucking love you, Vinny. You know, I work as a professional speaker. My job is to go around and speak to people. Last Saturday, actually, I don't remember what day it was, I gave a 55-minute keynote, which is a long time. And all I kept thinking about while I was giving that keynote is what I was going to say here to all my friends and to all the people that I love. And I was shocked to see how many people showed up that I love and that I care about. And Fairfax, thank you. Known you forever. I just love you. Dr.Bob, you are an amazing martial artist, and that you do this and hold the position that you do with such passion and honor. touches my heart, literally. And, you know, I was a good fighter. I did okay. But I was a great martial artist because you guys taught me how to be martial artists. Ernie Reyes taught me how to be a martial artist. And even though I was honored to be your teacher, you were my teacher, and you never knew it. Because I grew up on the streets. I went to prison. Like, my life was nothing until I came into martial arts and fitness. And you guys embraced me, and you guys showed me how to become a champion, and how to become a man, and how to become a valuable member of this community. And that's why I remain here, and that's why I do so much for martial arts and for fitness, because this community saved my life and made me a better human being. And if you hang out here, that will happen to you. So thank you all for coming. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. Thank you.
Our next inductee has really had a remarkable, stellar career. Although he wasn't a fighter himself, this guy is really Mr. Boxing, Burt Watson. A career in boxing and MMA that began more than 40 years ago. Burt served as a number of hosted positions in boxing's and MMA's most recognized names and some of the most unforgettable events and circumstances in boxing, UFC, and MMA. He served as a business manager for Smokin' Joe Frazier. He was eventually asked by Ion Films, the producers of the Champions Forever video project, to lead a 2-year, 3-continent promotional tour working with Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, George Foreman, and Ken Norton. It's a picture of you with all those guys that is off the chart. I mean, you should have it blown up into like a 40-foot poster. It's phenomenal. During his return to the ring of Mike Tyson and the legendary career of Oscar de la Hoya, Burt served as camp coordinator for many of their fights. He also worked with legends such as Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Hector Camacho, Julio Chavez, Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, Michael Spinks, on and on, Evander Holyfield, Kuchenko brothers, and so many others. I mean, how many people get the opportunity to be right in the mix and working with these kind of guys? Just remarkable. While earning extensive television relationships, he also organized championship fights with these events for ESPN, HBO, Univision, Sky Sports, CBS, ABC, NBC, Spike, Combat, and Fox, and later into the MMA and UFC. In February of 2015, the Fighters Only magazine, which is worldwide, national MMA publication, awarded Burt Watson with its Lifetime Achievement Award for his years of work, loyalty, contributions, growth, and development of the MMA and combat sports. He also hosts a podcast on a series of MMA junkies with USA Today Network titled Legends 2. And he's interviewed such greats as Randy Couture, who's here in the room, Hoist Gracie, another of our inductees, and just a host of so many remarkable legends. Burt, you are the toughest boxer I know in the room right now, because you've seen it all, you've done it all, you've been there with these legendary people who, you know, any of us who's got to meet one of them, it's like, wow, and you met all of them. Let's give it up for Burt Watson. Burt, your kid's so small. There you go. Get around this.
They gave me 5 minutes to do 40 years. Man, yeah, I'm nervous, okay? You know, I've never been at a loss for words, but I've been told to shut up. I've never been at a loss for listening and giving advice and helping, but then I was told to mind my business. I've never been at a loss for reaching out and touching and wanting to hug everybody in the room, but then human resources say, no touching. You know? But today, in this room, I'm feeling all those things at the same time. I am at a loss for words, but I can also hear and I'm listening to my own heart beat through my chest. And I want to reach out and give all of you one big hug for recognizing me with this lifetime honor. You know, history has a way of making you a part of it without you asking for it. I got my intro into combat sports March 8th, 1971, Muhammad Ali and Smoking Joe Frazier. I jumped in and that ship became a juggernaut. And I followed that juggernaut on through Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones, Vinny Pazienza, through the era of Sugar Ray Leonard, Layla Ali, Mike Tyson. I then transitioned into combat sports, the UFC, working with such notables as George St. Pierre, Randy Couture, Chael Sonnen, Rampage, Frank Shamrock, on through Shannon. I got my speech, baby. Yeah. Through Shannon and my man, former heavyweight champion Stipe, all of them in my heart. Today, I'm with Bellator MMA, but never, ever, ever in my wildest dream could I ever imagine being recognized for my listening to needs, my touching everyone in a room, in my world. Never, ever in my wildest dream could I ever imagine being recognized by any Hall of Fame for my contributions to combat sports and the growth of combat sports. When opportunities are given, you gotta stand up. You never know how much you don't know until you need to know it. I'm gonna repeat that. You never know how much you don't know until you need to know it. I never ever want to need to know it. I want to thank my family, my mom and my dad, my siblings, my children, my daughter, my son. Where is he? As big as he is. The hell did he go? Okay. My grandson, my wife, who followed through all that sludge and grease and grime and snow and rain, sleet, hail, all of it. She was there. Mr. Fairfax Hackley, I'd like to thank you. Dr.Bob, most importantly, the International Sports Hall of Fame for recognizing me in their class of 2022. You know, Joe Frazier gave me a job. The International Sports Hall of Fame said to me, good job. Can't say it any better than that.
Marines. Our next inductee, Shannon Knapp. Invicta FC president Shannon Knapp is a longtime veteran of the combat sports world. During the course of a 20-year-plus career in the industry, she has held roles in the UFC, Affliction, Strikeforce, the IFL, WFA, King of the Cage, and Sports Fight. A former defense instructor, Knapp entered the world of mixed martial arts, intent on changing the landscape of its athletes. Through her experience and industry knowledge, she was able to form a vision of a major platform for professional female fighters to hone their skills on a consistent basis. When you see the female fighters of today, they all owe a thanks to this woman because she's one. Everything starts somewhere, and there's always somebody who is a leader, an innovator, someone who changes the world, and that's why you're sitting on that stage here today. The vision became a reality in 2012 with the creation of Invicta Fighting Championships, the world's premier combat sports organization for women. After nearly a decade of operation under Knapp's leadership, Invicta FC continues to pioneer the growth of women's MMA and promoting the best possible matchups and developing future superstars of the sport. With Invicta FC, Knapp continues to innovate, become the first major MMA organization in North America to utilize open scoring and paying homage to sports roots with one-night tournament format. And I don't know if any of you saw the movie Bruised with Halle Berry. She was the one behind that. That was a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie. So, for your insight, for your leadership, for your innovation, for helping to create an industry that has given a career and hope and challenges and a life force to so many women, we recognize you here today. It is heavy.
How exciting. You show up, you get a jacket, and you get jewelry, right? Isn't that amazing? I love it. So, first of all, I want to thank the International Sports Hall of Fame for the privilege and the honor to represent your class of 2022. I'm grateful to be inducted with such an extraordinary group of people, and a lot I've worked with and had great experiences, so thank you. I've been incredibly blessed in my career. I've been afforded the opportunity to do what I love and something that I have passion for. I've always had a fascination with mixed martial arts and combat sports. I can remember when I was a little girl laying in bed doing fight choreography. I'm going to hit him like this, he's going to do that, then I'm going to hit him again. So, and there was a time when I was probably about 13, I begged my mom, please send me to the ninja camps in the back of Soldier of Fortune magazine. Thank God she didn't, literally, but I did. I loved it, sometimes in life you start down a path and you realize that you end up somewhere completely different than when you started. I was at home taking care of my daughter and teaching Sunday school. The next day, I am out saying, fight, and you fight you. So there it goes. But the one thing that never changed in my career was that I've always been such a huge advocate for the athletes and for the sport as a whole. The reason I got involved in mixed martial arts was because I thought I could make a difference. When I first got into the sport, it was a terrible landscape for the athletes. They were underpaid. I think, Randy, you'll remember that. They were underpaid. There weren't a lot of opportunities, and the sport just hadn't reached that mainstream. So I'm sitting on the couch one day, and I say, listen, you can sit and complain about this all day, or you can get up and make a difference, because guess what? It only takes one to get the ball rolling. So that's what I did. I spent most of my career on the male side of the sport until I looked over and I realized, these women, it's the women that need my help. The men had succeeded to a point that everything was great for them. So that's when I decided to dive in head first. Because, you know what? I know a little something about being a woman in a male-dominated space. And I know that a lot of people didn't think I belonged in that space. But I also knew that I had the drive, the passion, and the get up and fight the good fight to make a difference. So guess what? That's what I did. So 10 years ago, I started Invicta Fighting Championships, a platform for women. So, the foundation that Invicta is built on is about giving a home for women to showcase their skill set and putting the athlete first. And I'm glad to say 10 years later, that is still how the company operates and runs today. So, great thing. The one thing I will tell you is when I first started to talk to my friends, colleagues, some media acquaintances about building an all-female promotion, they laughed. Some laughed, said, you're really going to do this? Some looked at me and said, they questioned my sanity. That was a good one. and that kind of thing. And then probably the one thing that I do remember is what UFC President Dana White said to me. And he said to me, and I quote, "You got big balls, Shannon." So I'm just happy to say that, I'm sure that he didn't think I could be successful. He's a gambling man, and I'm sure he wouldn't have bet on me. But here I stand in front of you, 10 years, and we're still going strong. We have a lot of work to do. Telling Burt we're going to tackle boxing, so there's a lot of great things to come. We still have lots of work. Just to finish here, nobody gets to where they're going without a tremendous amount of support. I am so grateful and thankful to the people that had faith in me, even when I didn't have faith in myself. And Randy Couture, you're one that pushed me along the way. So, yeah. And Boss Rutan was another one that they put me on this path and this journey. So, and I want to give a thanks to my daughter that made lots of sacrifices, because when you're all in with passion and loving what you're doing, everything kind of takes a second seat to the back, right? So I will leave you with this. Here's to the women that dare to travel those unconventional roads, and to the women that vow to make a difference, no matter the size of their voice. And I say to you that it only takes one, and that is a true statement. So get out there, do what you love what you do, and never work a day in your life. And to the International Sports Hall of Fame, thank you so much. Fairfax and Dr. Bob.
Our final inductee. We saved the biggest guy, the tallest. Every time I stand next to you, Stipe, I feel tinier. Either I'm shrinking or you're growing. Stipe is an American professional mixed martial artist. He was signed by the Ultimate Fighting Championships at UFC, where he competed in the heavyweight division as a former two-time UFC heavyweight champion. He is widely recognized by critics, commentators, and media as the greatest UFC heavyweight fighter of all time. As of August 9th, 2021, he was the number 2 in the UFC heavyweight ratings. As of January 24th, 2021, number 10 in the UFC pound-for-pound rankings. Having successfully defended his title 4 times during his 2 title reigns, he holds the record for the most wins in heavyweight title fights, along with the longest title defending streak in heavyweight division history at 3 consecutive defenses. He also holds the record for Fight Night bonus awards with 9, and most in the UFC heavyweight division's history. Prior to his MMA career, he was the former Golden Gloves boxing champion and the NCAA NCAA Division I wrestler at Cleveland State University. He is truly one of the greatest MMA heavyweights of all time. Let's give it up. And I know you can handle this, no problem.
That's my last fight, I don't know.
I don't want to mess up your hair. One more picture. Okay, well, stage is yours.
I hate talking. Just bear with me. I get real excited, start talking real fast, my hands start moving, so just bear with me. Well, good afternoon. Thank you guys for having me here at the 2022 International Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'd like to start by congratulating the other inductees, Ron, Vinny, Prince, Frank, Bert, and Shannon. I'm not going to go with last names because I'm going to chop them up, so I went by first names. I'd also like to thank Dr. Goldman and Fairfax for the nominees and myself for being nominated. It's amazing, and I appreciate it so much. My wife, Ryan, Haley, can you guys please stand up? I just want to give them a round of applause, because they're awesome. Vayner Sports, they've really, helped me out, and my wife too. And you're welcome for making your job that easy. Sorry, it's easy, right? You're welcome. So, My wife, Ryan, thank you for taking care of my diva ass, making sure I was always taken care of, and I would be lost without you. Honestly, I would be. I probably wouldn't be a world champion without you. That's a true statement, because I'd probably be in a ditch somewhere, from training, and I appreciate everything. And yeah, I lost my spot. Awesome.
Sorry, we got you, baby.
But you can thank me later too by you get to wake up every day with this gorgeous face. No big deal. So I only got a few minutes, so I'll probably mess up a couple times. So we're gonna keep it going. But also I thank my team I train with: Marcus, Pablo, Steve, Alex, and especially Marcus, my head coach. He's been my best friend since day one, since I met him. I just want to thank him for not only believing in me, but believing in everyone that stepped through the doors of Strong Style. I also want to actually thank the fans, because if it wasn't for them, MMA wouldn't be what it is today. And many years ago, I told my father I was going to start training MMA, and all he said to me was, "Man, you have a great nose for it." Man, he wasn't kidding. Thank God. And I told my mom, she wasn't the biggest fan. And in the beginning, I remember showing her UFC 2 on VHS. I don't know if you guys remember. They had it from the video store. So I was like 12, I think. I don't remember. Getting in, I go, "Mom, check it out. You guys are fighting. Like, no rules. This is crazy." And my mom never swears, and she literally looks at me and goes, "Take that fucking shit back to the store." So, and here I am today. She supports me 100%. She'll never watch, but she supports me. I would never have thought of it growing up, getting punched in the face for a living. But I hate getting punched in the face, because who likes it? No one does. I mean, if you saw the last fight, you definitely don't like getting punched in the face. So, but I don't remember it, so thank God. But MMA has given me so much more than I thought I would have ever anticipated. It kept me out of trouble, helped me stay focused, kept me active, and most importantly, it gave me the opportunity to provide a comfortable life for my wife and my family and my future, and the kids, and just that's what I'm thankful for, because knowing that they can be taken care of, no matter what happens to me, I'm okay with that. Thank you, MMA. I guess my message in the speech is honestly to thank everyone that helped me to get where I am today. Taking the time out of their lives to help me accomplish something that I couldn't do on my own, even though it's a one-man sport. People say it takes a village. I was part of a Motley Crue village. There were times it was circus, riot, absolute madness, but it's something I would never change, ever. And fast forward to right now, and I actually just got hired full-time at a fire department. Right? And no joke, my first shift is this Wednesday. So yeah, nothing like being 39 and starting. Thank you. I wouldn't have been able to get where I am at without the years of MMA that I've experienced through everything. And it's better late than never. And that's one thing my wife and my parents and coaches always drilled in my head, and will never give up on your dreams. And for the record, though, I'm not retiring. I'm going to get, Frank, I think, was talking about it, come back and get what's yours. I'm going to come back and get what's mine. I like having hardware, and I'm going to get what's mine. And, on a closing note, I like to say I'm honored to be inducted into the International Sports Hall of Fame. And sorry for the hot mess of the speech, but thank you for your time.
I'd also like to mention we have a number of our board members here. Dr. James Stockton, right there, takes care of a lot of the MMA fighters. Randy Couture is on our advisory board. Eric Hillman's on. Eric, stand up, please. Oh, there he is. Eric is on. Rick Collins. If you get in trouble, he's the lawyer to call. And I can tell you that this event would be absolutely impossible. There is no way that I could do any of this without our Vice President, Global Advisory, Board Advisory champion, Fairfax Hackley. Let's give it up. This guy works day and night, 365 days a year. It is insane. We talk every day, sometimes 5 times a day. And really, without him, there's no way I could pull this off. There's no way I would put the kind of sourcing behind it. You notice you don't see Nike posters or any. I fund this thing personally because I think it's so important for this to be your day, guys and ladies. This is all about you. This is not about sponsors or anything commercial. This is a day that I want you to remember forever, so I only want it to be about you, and that's why I'm so supportive of doing these events, being nervous that the medals get lost in the mail, so I always carry them, being abused by TSA every time I come to an event, and also keeping spare banners and posters in a number of different venues, because I have them in Vegas, I have them in Florida, and we've got them here. So one way or another, we're going to be covered for the ceremony. And again, we know how busy all of you are, and it takes a full year of effort and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls and emails, and you get them from Fairfax, you get some from me. You know he's unrelenting in order. And again, let's give it up for Fairfax again.
Thanks, everyone. There's something that my dad once taught me, and he said, if you see a turtle on top of a fence post, you know that he had some help getting there. He had some help getting there. This is my speech, Bert. But he also told me that if you want to get rich quick, count your blessings. Today is a blessing. As Dr.Bob said, all the inductees said, we will never, ever have this moment again. But it's really, in part, mostly due to the fact that he uses his own money. This was his idea. He doesn't take any sponsorship. He doesn't take any doo-doo. And he puts in the effort because he truly loves the fact that he's capable of doing this and giving back. So let's hear it for Dr. Robert Goldman.